Yeah.
There we go. Yay.
Hooray.
Good. Yay. Here we go.
Okay. So yeah, let's do, we don't see the delay. Move that over. Okay. Hi, friends.
Hey guys.
Hi, guys. So I am going to play the lead on this one. We are just going to get a little bit close and personal with Steph and Cian. I've had the pleasure of really getting to know Cian over this past year, and definitely getting to know Steph a lot better. And, you know, I think in how they show up in business is very powerful. But when we peel back the layer of that professionalism, there's such a powerful heart between these two people. And the passion and compassion that they bring to their work is so meaningful. So I wanted an opportunity to talk to them about that tonight and get a little bit more close and personal with them. So I first want to start this off and say to each of you individually, you know, like Cian, one thing that really strikes me about you is, you know, you don't carry this air of jealousy or, you know, anything. It's like you're always open to what people share and what they bring in, you know, and with me, you know, in the work that we've done together, you've always been so open and accepting of the different things that I presented to you, you know. So I really feel that's a strength in you that you can really own.
Thank you. That's been a real big journey for me, actually. Becoming vulnerable with the existence, with the universe, like you, her. So actually the person I've been most jealous of in historically has been this one, because, you know, she's so expressive, so emotive, so sparkly and colorful. And I know I've definitely tried to like be like that, and it kills me. Like I'm a very different energy, you know. I'm very like centered and grounded and like
You're Osho and I'm Kali.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, that works. That's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. You can't try to be Kali and I can't try to be Osho.
No, it doesn't work. But yeah, thank you for that reflection, Loncen, because that has been my journey, to open up and not be the guy who knows it all. You know, and just kind of like also take in, you know.
Amazing. And Steph, like I have to say, since coming in to work with you, I see your powerful essence in how you show up. You know, you're like right on point with the things that you do, dedicated to it. You see it all the way through. And then, you know, I've also been noticing your heart a lot coming through in all of this. You know, you're one of the most generous people that I've had the opportunity to work with, where it's like, you know, although this is about the professional and, you know, we're doing something for a greater community, what I found in just your ability to open up and invite me in fully to not only show me what you've been doing in your own business that's been successful, but just, you know, it's just been like any good idea has been welcomed, you know. So I really think that needs to be acknowledged in you, your huge heart.
Thank you so much. And yeah, that's been a journey for me as well, because having a huge heart in corporate has gotten me into a lot of fucking trouble. So it's not always appreciated in the corporate world. And it's something that got in many ways conditioned out of me. And a lot of my journey in the last year has been around coming back to that and coming back to community over competition and collaboration and sharing and giving away way more than we probably should as far as energy is concerned, and consistently over delivering and being involved in supporting multiple containers and multiple humans. And I've really found that is where my heart has shone, and where I feel like I'm able to show up the most is when I'm actually over giving. That's when I feel the best. So it's been something that I've had to allow myself to do, because yeah, so many times in corporate, you know, we get taught like, you know, you only give away a tiny little bit and then the rest they have to buy, and you have to be very mindful of your energy and don't give away the farm, and people will take. And I find that when you shift that mindset of of understanding, like people will take what they need and they're ready and willing to pay when they're ready and willing to pay, and that energy gets honored on both sides. When that's my reality, it's their reality as well. So it's a lot more supportive for me to be in that heart-centered space and to be working with wonderful humans such as yourself. And it seems to be much more supportive for everybody.
Amazing, amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the program now. Like, why this program? What makes it unique among the programs that you guys have been involved in?
So I'll let you answer from your perspective as well, but really quickly from mine, like my programs that I've taken have all either been like really like startup corporate business involved, or they've been very manifestation focused. And so what's really interesting is that all the programs I have taken have been very heady, because even the manifestation stuff up until I took the really flowy self-pleasure stuff have been very in the mind, right? Like it's all about structure, it's all about strategy, it's all about even the manifestation courses I've taken are all mindset. Everything is up here, right? How do you push through? How do you like beat the body into submission? How do you dominate your voice, your area, your everything? And you know, it's just another type of adrenal fatigue, right? It's like I went from corporate, which was all about mindset and all about push and all about hustle and all about like 80-hour work weeks, and all those courses, I took those. And then when I slipped into manifestation, it was a spiritual version of the same thing. Go, push, right? Like do your affirmations every single day, don't honor the body, feel the fear and do it anyways. And so it's like I took what was familiar to me, which was corporate, and then applied that to spirituality. And that only works for so long. And then when I flipped into my self-pleasure and sex coaching modalities, it was almost like I went too far the other way, and my pendulum swung the other way. And it was all about everything is what you feel and always go deeper, and everything's about the body. And it was interesting, I'm sure, for you to watch me swing from this way to the other way. And what's interesting for me about this program is that what I found true success for us in the last year came when we came into center. It wasn't all structure, it wasn't all push, but it also can't all be flow. It needs to be a centered balance of both. And sometimes you can swing into one area or the other, but you need to do it consciously. You can't live there. And so for me, this course has been a fusion of really, it's what I learned and started to realize like, oh, actually, this is a bit of a secret sauce, because nobody's teaching the middle path. Everybody's teaching one polarity or the other, and the truth lies in the center.
I mean, Buddha was all about the middle path, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I think that's got lost in translation somewhere. Even for me. Oh, hey, Chelsea, thanks for the likes.
Hey, Chelsea, hi, love.
So if I could just add some. If I could just add something to that first is, it's almost like what I'm hearing and what you're saying is you actually had to go to the extremes of each end and then come back to neutral to trust your own energy, that each of the components will come in at the right time.
Yeah,
totally. That's Osho talks about that for pretty much everything, like addiction to any sensory experience, any sort of habits and patterns. Like when you're on one side of the polarity, you have to push with great effort in the other direction. You're going to miss the middle when you're pushing that hard to get off of the polarity, right? You're going to overshoot. And the trick is not to get stuck in the other polarity, is to then kind of allow it to swing back. And like a pendulum, eventually you can kind of swing into the middle.
And it's funny because we even saw that mentality, like that mentality of structure over flow or flow over structure. Like we see that so much in the current space. Like your former coach, Eben Pagan too, which is who he did his coaching certification through. We just saw him literally, it's funny, we saw him advertising literally the exact opposite of what the CBA is, what the essence of the CBA is. And it was
one of the
really
polarities.
One of the polarities.
CBA is here, he's over here, the other people are over here. We're like,
we just had to chuckle when we got the email to download it. It's like, I'm going to give you like
structure, system, structure.
Yeah, the formula to figure out your niche and the like 15-step funnel to get like guaranteed buyers every single time, and
10 email templates to guarantee success.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's like no space in there for somebody to bring their own magic. They're literally just like trying to use somebody else's system.
Yeah. And those done for you systems, like, sure, they're done for you, but they're not you. And so I can't tell you the number of people that have come across my doorstep for like spiritual coaching and spiritual work, because they've bought every single one of those, like Business by Design by James Wedmore. I love James Wedmore, but Business by Design by James Wedmore, these kind of programs from Evan Pagan, like big name programs. And even Tony Robbins programs, and they followed them to a T, and they don't work. And so they come to me thinking that they're broken, that they've done something wrong. And it's not that they're broken, it's that when you buy a done for you system, your own essence, your own energy can't come through. And what are people buying today? They're buying your essence, they're buying your energy. And so when they're over constructing into a formula, into a system, their own energy and their own like magnetism gets lost, because they're trying to fit that into somebody else's boxes and somebody else's systems. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. And it's not that they're broken, it's that their energy is not shining through. So the CBA is all about, how do you grow from your own authentic aligned system, so that you don't have to do this and then come back to the middle like we did. You can just start from alignment right from day one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The thing that's kind of brought, like I went through the same journey as Stephanie, as far as like corporate and then flow and then coming back to the middle. One of the seeds that really allowed us, like kind of like planted that sort of initial idea in our head, was this idea of the integrated leader, which is a book that I'm working on. And it's rooted in a sacred order, the Zen tradition, and a secret order, which I can't name. It's a Hermetic tradition. And through this sort of like up-leveling of consciousness, what we've both come to realize is that there are two macroscopic energies inside of us: the solar or conscious mind and the lunar or subconscious mind. And if you're in typical traditional business corporate society, what's happened is you've trained or had trained your solar conscious mind to dominate the lunar, right? So like suck it up, be a man, you know, don't cry, all of these things.
Yeah, the 80-hour work weeks, right? Hustle, push through.
This is the solar consciousness dominating the lunar consciousness, right? It's saying you're not allowed to be childish, childlike, you're not allowed to have fun, you're not allowed to play, you're not allowed to like hug people, blah, 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 blah. Like all of these rules that get programmed into our solar consciousness.
You're not even allowed to fail, right?
As people start going down their spiritual path and start to meditate, what are we doing? We're deconstructing what people call the ego, right? Which is like the solar consciousness. We're deconstructing, we're peeling little by little all of those rules, all of those like programs that society, parents, and everyone has put into you. We're deconstructing them, throwing them out, and eventually you have like an awakening as basically you've blown it up. Now you're walking around like this, like subconscious mind, and you're like, oh, a 7-year-old, everything's fucking beautiful, everything's flow, blah blah blah, you know, and it's a wonderful space to be. I was there for a couple of years, but not a lot gets done in that energy, in that solely lunar consciousness. At that stage,
what I'm seeing actually in what you're saying is that pendulum that you guys were describing. So you start out in the solar, and then you go to the lunar, which is more about chaos, which kind of breaks up that order. So very interesting.
And but staying in that state as well is also not desirable.
Just that other pendulum.
For a couple of reasons. One, you're gonna go broke. You know. Two. You're not going to have the conscious mind to recognize that you're getting triggered and that it's you and not the person who's triggering you. So you're actually going to, Jeffrey Martin says, you're going to end up in the cave. So you or what do you call it? A peace prison.
Peace prison.
You end up in the peace prison, totally identified with being in this like, whoa,
or
lovely bliss, or I call it the bliss disease, right? In this lovely state of openness, but no like ability to like bring to ground the experience and reflect on it, right? So the next stage is to like, okay, we've blown it open. Now, how do we ground this open mind in a structure that's helpful? So we have to rebuild the ego.
Yeah,
right?
I can relate to what you're saying. I see that as like, in simple terms, like a pot for a plant. It's like, you know, it needs that structure on the side for that creativity to grow, but it's like, it's a very deliberate, conscious process.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to use the example of like water in a glass, right? The water needs a glass to hold it. Otherwise you just have water on the floor. It's not super helpful when it's just all over the place.
It's all flow. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need both.
So what would you say is your favorite aspect of the work you do, to each of you?
You want to start this one?
What is my favorite aspect of the work I do? It's flow, man.
He's very watery. He likes the water.
I am. I'm like 5 Scorpio in my natal chart.
Okay.
Yeah. Including sun, moon, and rising. You know, for all those who know what that means, that's scary for some and intriguing for others.
Yeah.
What's the favorite aspect of this work? It's really like this. What we're doing right now, and getting to teach and getting to show up in service and really like connecting with thousands of people. And man, I don't know what happened, but like about a month and a half ago, something happened on my Facebook, and I went from like 800 friends to 5,000 friends in the span of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And
it's an example of working with your energy profile.
Yeah, and it's predominantly like these really interesting, witchy, mystical women, metaphysical women. I mean, there's plenty of men too, but it's like predominantly women for some reason. And just getting to hear everybody's stories, like they all message me.
Right.
Every single one of them. And so like me and the team are, you know, kind of going through all the messages and interacting, and like, you know, you get to hear some really interesting stories, some really heartbreaking ones. I love them all, both the good ones and the so-called bad ones, because it just helps me show, you know, like we're doing something right for existence to be bringing all these people into our field. And to be able to show up and serve for everyone.
I would dive a little bit deeper into that though. I like in the work that you and I have done, what I've noticed is you've been accepting yourself a lot more. Just really stepping into your own sense of power.
Yeah,
that's certainly again and again and again. Here, let me just do not disturb on here. This is it's getting a little wild.
Slack never honors the do not disturb. I don't know why.
Cool.
Yeah, I am, and that's probably a big reason. You know, like I did a coaching package with you earlier, right? And it definitely helped me tune into that, what I was missing, right? Where I wasn't stepping into my power. I wasn't saying that really hard truth that was coming out. And I mean, man, I've been doing it more and more over these last couple months. You know, coming out about my sexual trauma and like the shadows that I'm dealing with in Stephanie's Sex Lab group. If you guys aren't in there, the Sex Lab group is awesome. We all open up about our past traumas. And it was really interesting for me to do that publicly and to feel the power that it had. And it was like within that week that everyone started coming. So there's definitely a correlation there, as far as like becoming vulnerable with existence. You know, and
that's beautifully said.
Yeah, I mean that was my whole journey, right? In Peru for 3 weeks, it was all about how do I become more vulnerable with the universe, you know? So
I like the way you phrase that. That's very poetic too. How about you, Steph? What would you say is the favorite aspect of the work you do?
Yeah, I think I have 2 answers for that, which is like one personal and one like collective. So definitely like from a collective perspective, my favorite part that just like gets me every time is building this community of ascension that really kind of comes to us through our work. Like the SEA, which we just closed, which was the Sexual Empowerment Academy. Well, didn't just close, it closed, I guess, about 2 months ago now. And that was my first group program. We had 33 people in that container. And it was just incredible to witness every single one of their transformations, and not even just know that like I had facilitated that, but know that their team was facilitating that. Like all I really did was create the container and give them like a little bit of content so that they could ground in the transformation that was already waiting for them, but that they, for whatever reason, couldn't grasp it. And so the container was there, the practices were provided, and that community allowed all of those 33 women to ascend to the next level that they were meant for. It wasn't about me saying, hey, you're going to be here or you're going to be there. It was about them coming up to their next level, just because I was the cup so that they could be the water, right? To use the earlier analogy. And that was, yeah, it gets me every time. Every time I watch the videos, every time I drop back into that group, like it's incredible. And the connections that they've all made, like I know they have lifelong friends. I know many of them have become my lifelong friends. And as someone who heart and love is such an important value for me, that it just trumps everything else. And it was such a beautiful experience. And I look forward to bringing that type of heart-centered holding into the CBA, because I can only imagine when we can do that with like sexual energy and sexual healing, you imagine what we can do when we bring that into like conscious business curation and creation. People are just going to have such amazing transformations, and then they're going to have bigger impact in the world as a result of that. So it's like you get these ripple effects across every single person who ends up joining. Sorry, love.
Magnificent.
In the CBA. Yeah.
Amazing.
So beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned there's more of a personal reason.
Yeah, totally. As far as personal reasons are concerned, like this whole journey has been around me going deeper and deeper into trust of myself and what comes through me. And creating these programs has been a really, really big part of that. Trusting my intuition. I was born as someone that had a lot of intuition, a lot of psychic gifts, and just left them as I became older and older and older. They became unsafe to express. They became unsafe to speak and unsafe to experience. So I just released them. And coming back into this journey has been a lot of me coming back into those gifts, coming back into that state of trust, and trusting that when I download something like the SEA, trusting that that was exactly what it needed to be, and then it gets to be perfect beyond all logical reason. Like the first time so many people I coach, they run their first group program and they get 5 people in it or 1 person in it. And for us to have 33 soul aligned people in that first program, and I'm sure the same thing's going to happen with the CBA. Like that is just me trusting myself, because I knew there was going to be 30 people in there, but my ego was like, nah, who are you to have 30 people in that program? Who are you to do this? Who are you to have your first group be so successful? Who are you to hold this kind of transformation? And so from a personal level, this is a continual serious wonder talking to us. It's a continual deepening into trusting myself and my own transmission and my own connection to source to transform others.
What I'm hearing in that is your ability to hold that energy, regardless of what your mind is telling you, is becoming even more powerful as you move forward.
Yeah, 100%.
So beautiful. Which is a good entry point to this whole manifestation part of this program. When did you find your manifestation skills started to kick into overdrive?
So manifestation came to me, just a little bit of a backstory. Actually, I discovered manifestation and like the law of attraction and The Secret right when it first came out. I was 19 years old and I was running a company, MLM called Passion Parties, which is now known as True Romance, out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I was like wildly successful with it, considering I was a 19-year-old. It was a little bit crazy. And I had learned about The Secret and about making vision boards. And that was when it came out. And it was big in the MLM community because everybody was like, yeah, more ways to bring in money. And I learned so much in that. I highly recommend everyone do an MLM sometime in their lives. You learn so much more than you do, even in my business degree. So really, really incredible there. But that was when I learned about manifestation. And I was very successful at it. I remember putting an Eiffel Tower on it. And then, of course, just forgetting about it because that's what you're supposed to do. And then a few years later, I manifested, not knowing, like I had forgotten about manifestation. I left Passion Parties. I got into the real world, got a corporate job, blah, blah, blah. Ended up working for a travel company and actually went to Paris 5 times in the span of 2 years. And then didn't remember that until, again, 2 years after that, I opened up my old original vision board and I saw the Eiffel Tower on there and I was like, holy shit. So that was really cool. But I didn't start consciously stepping into it until really the beginning of my spiritual awakening, which was for me when I left my ex-fiance. He had a really severe cocaine addiction. And there was a bunch of different pieces, but basically that was my rock bottom moment, was leaving him, losing the condo, losing the cars, losing the status, losing a large chunk of my friends, like losing everything. And I kind of sat there and I was like, there's got to be something more to this world than just material, because I worked my fucking ass off in my 20s and hit 6 figures before I was 30, hit all of those things. And yet it all got taken away from me. I have had nothing to show for it because of somebody else's actions, was the way I saw it at the time. Right now, I know we all magnetize our lessons, but at the time, that was what I saw. I was in that victim of like, I lost everything because somebody else couldn't get their shit together. So there must be something more to this. And I went back into manifestation as a result. And I manifested like incredible things in that year. As soon as I was like open to it and started practicing it again, you know, new jobs, new salaries. And this guy right here is like probably my finest manifestation. That's a whole fun story. You know, our retreat in Costa Rica, manifesting that, the business partners, 2-bedroom condo in the exchange district of Winnipeg for less than I had been paying for my condo that was half the size, like crazy examples. So it really started to kick into high drive for me, I would say in 2018 was when I started to really like pedal to the metal and start really fine tuning my manifestation skills.
Amazing. Wow. What about you, Cian?
So on manifestation,
I keep
pulling my hair.
Well, it's so long and it's so in the way.
Guys, this is probably one of the last times you're going to see my hair this long. I am getting it cut. It's going down to here.
We're not even going to recognize him. Yeah. It's going to be weird.
I might even get the beard. So the question was about manifestation.
When did
when did your skills start to kick into overdrive?
So, I mean, I've been a master manifester since I was 20, but I didn't know I was doing it.
I mean, we're always manifesting all the time.
Yeah, but like basically everything I set my sights on, I achieved. Like it just and this is why I got into spirituality, honestly, because like I played the game of life and I finished it when I was 28. You know, like I achieved every single objective that society set for me. I achieved every objective I set for me. I had the 5-bedroom house, the Lexus, the multi-6-figure job. Like I had girls, I ran a modeling agency, I was poly, so literally like just think about anything that you're like, oh, that's a sign of success in traditional society. Yeah. I hit every single thing, you know? And I'm like, okay, I'm playing this board game. There's still like years left in this game, but I'm already finished. What do I do now? You know? And is this it? Kind of came to me. And that's when I got into spirituality. I'm like, fuck, like every time I hit an objective, it feels like I'm happy for like 2 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, what's next? You know? And like the mind just keeps moving and moving and moving. And like, you just keep fucking going on this hamster wheel. So I had no idea that was all manifestation, and now I do, because obviously I've been doing Zen since I was 6 months old. So there's a certain mindset that really helps you manifest very powerfully, and holding a clear intention, having a clear mind, and being connected to your heart are 2 very necessary aspects of manifesting successfully. I didn't know all that. I got into spirituality. I trained even more. I let go of my attachment to all these things. I started letting go of all of these things. And then I meet this one, and she starts talking to me about manifestation. And I'm like, I think I've been doing that. But you mean you can do that intentionally? Oh, fuck. And so started actually okay, well, show me what are the, you know, they give you like these steps, right? But they don't explain how they work or why they work, or, you know, the quantum theories behind all of it. They just give you the formula, right? Like, do this, make a vision board, look at it every day, blah, 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 check the boxes, and you're done, right? Manifestation complete. And, you know, 2 years later, you'll pull the vision board out and go, oh, hey, I did it. And
I did that. I had that experience so that does work.
It does work. I mean, it's part of the thing, is like, you have to forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm really good at forgetting about the things, you know. Anyways, so I started applying my understanding of ultimate reality in the quantum field and how everything works to her, like the things that she's trained in. And I started going, I think there's a I think there's a link between spiritual technology and powers and understanding of how ultimate reality works, and then where these like checklists for manifestation came from.
Mhm.
And so we started like collaborating together on, okay, well, how do these fit together? And we kind of figured it out. And that culminated this past February when we went to Joe Dispenza's advanced retreat. And he basically confirmed everything that we had concluded for us.
It was very cool.
So it was like super validating to like literally all the stuff that we had written down, done blog posts on, and been like, yeah, we figured this out, and you know, like you need a clear intention, a strong positive emotion, and then release it. And like Joe was like literally reading out of my journal. It felt like, you know.
Wow. Well, and I also like pick up on the potency that you two bring together as well. Like, you know, there's that energetic that when you guys are fully open to each other, you know, you guys are really creating an energy that can ripple out from what you guys are putting together. So amazing.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we were getting that hit from the universe, because we had originally like launched a business together, which was our retreat business. That was our first business together, and it was wildly successful. And then we got back and we had started planning our second retreat, and then, you know, we got lockdowns and the world shifted basically overnight, and all of a sudden our retreat business didn't make a whole lot of sense anymore. So we both went into, you're just sick of me pulling your hair,
we both went into our own businesses.
We both went into our own individual coaching businesses, and it's like, every time we did something separate, the universe kept saying like, no, you need to be together. No, you need to be together. You need to come back together. And even when we would have our one-on-one coaching clients, we would pass them back and forth, and everyone would say, wow, you guys are so much more powerful together. So we had been open and just saying like, we know there's meant to be a fusion. We know we're meant to come back together. But with him being like in business and me being in sexuality, we're like, we didn't really know how to do it. And then right before we left for Peru is when the content for the CBA started to download. And I was like, oh my God, this is how we finally get to come back together. And it's just been amazing because we can both be in our zones of genius. And I feel like it's not a situation of 1 + 1 = 2. It's a 1 + 1 = 11, right? Yeah. So it's been really, really nice for both of us.
The last thing, and this is just a little preview because this doesn't hit the presses yet, but we also downloaded an esoteric business school. Yeah. So the CBA,
you're not supposed to tell anybody about that.
I know. The CBA is the initial, it's like our initial course, like business and esotericism coming together. But we literally like had a vision. We both had this vision separately of us standing at the head of an international school teaching business and esotericism like together as one, just like in the CBA. So the CBA is like an entry point, but it's gonna grow and blossom.
Yeah. And since the cat's already out of the bag, I'll even take that one step further. And so really the fusion there, the driving force that we haven't seen anywhere in spirituality yet, is the fusion of the 3 primal energies. And that's really what we're working on fusing together. So the 3 primal energies being creation, so sexual energy, creative energy, community, or, you know, exchange, so money, connection,
energy exchange,
right, coming from community, and then source and divinity. So those 3 energies right now, when we look at any type of spirituality, we look at any type of teaching, they're separated, right? Like we don't think that sexuality and spirituality can go together. We don't think that sexuality and business can go together, right? Or if we do, we label it something and it's not a nice something, right? And we don't think that business can go together with spirituality. So the CBA is one of the legs. Oh, thanks for all the hearts, you guys. I'm glad you love it. The CBA is the business to spirit connection, but the school is going to be connecting the 3 energies together and creating teachings based on all 3 of those primal energies.
Amazing. Yeah, what I'm hearing in what you guys were saying earlier is just really, it's like you connecting to your own authenticity, which is the power. And then you brought that together, which is now magnifying even further.
Yes.
Amazing. And then, that's school sound. Yeah. Wow. That's some really powerful stuff coming through. What would you say? So I mean, you guys have kind of led there already, but what makes this system so potent in comparison to like some of the stuff you've been through already?
I would say definitely the integration and the fact that we're not giving you a blueprint of like, here's how we did it. We're guiding you into your own authenticity so you can make your own blueprint. So you'll still leave the program with a blueprint that will absolutely work for you, but it's yours. It's from your energy profile.
Yeah.
So that's why we're gonna have human design. That's why we're talking about meditation. That's why we're talking about mindset. That's why we're talking about honoring your own energy. That's why we're talking about aligned flow state sales. That's why we're talking about aligned decision making.
We're doing for business and spirituality what Dell did for computers, mass customization, right? Like it used to be computers were all built exactly the same and shipped out because that was how it was effective to do. Dell came along and they're like, we'll allow you to order a custom built computer and it'll be done in the factory and shipped to you completely custom built. So that's what we're doing is we've put a system together that allows us to lead you through the process of building your own custom business blueprint.
And then the other thing too that I know that is really unique, like we've been through so many different programs that are basically like pre-recorded content, and maybe you get a live Q&A like with thousands of other people like once a month if you're lucky. And this is very hands-on. So as you know, Loncen, you're one of our support coaches. We actually have 6 coaches that are involved in this container that are all facilitating in some way, shape, or form. Each of those coaches bills at monthly at least $3,000 a month, if not more. So like the value is incredible, and all of them are going to be hands-on live. So every single workshop is live, every single lecture is live, every single teaching is live. There's lots of opportunity for Q&A, and every single day there will be like a homework or some type of action-based item that will help you move your business forward. And they won't be like hours worth of work because nobody's got time for that. I get it, but little baby steps, little lily pads, so that this isn't a program where you're going to like watch all the information, digest it all, and then do nothing with it for 6 months. This is a program where we've built the human support capacity in it to literally handhold you through the resistance, which we know will come up, through the fears, which we know will come up, through everything, so that you're actually going to have not a business on the other side, but you're going to start slowly making steps forward. That's really important. For example, when I launched my my sex coaching business, I had no problem getting clients. I sold out my one-on-one opportunities within 6 weeks, like actually faster than that. Yeah, and like they just vanished on me. When I started doing free stuff, I wanted 3 clients, I got 13. The reason for that is because I was sharing my journey along the way. So I wasn't hiding it and waiting for it to be perfect. I was like, hey, I've started learning this thing. Here's where I like fucked up. Here's this, here's that. I was just totally in my own authenticity. So when I was ready to start making offers, people had already followed me on their journey. People on my journey, people already believed in the power that I created to transform. And that is key. So many people think I've got to take the certification. I've got to do the business class. I've got to polish and perfect everything. And then I'm going to launch it. And then they wonder why they get crickets. And it's because you haven't brought your customers along the journey with you. People want to be along for your transformation.
This is because people have been trained in school, right? You study for an exam and you want to get perfect on the exam. So you hide everything until you go and you show up and then it's perfect. And that's like the exact, that's going to get in the way of you showing up.
Well, and I could relate to that because I know in my business too, when I first started out, it was like, you know, I had a wall up. Like I would only show what was polished, what was, you know, perfect. But now, you know, showing more of that human element, I'm finding that people are engaging a lot more from that. So yeah, that makes sense, Steph.
Yeah. And even just permission to flow too. Like everybody who's watching this probably knows that originally our Money Magic Meditation Challenge was scheduled from the 1st to the 4th of July. And then, you know, oh, our battery's died. Cian's gonna fix that. The charger's right here, baby. Okay, he's fixing it. Was originally scheduled from the 1st to the 4th. And then we got close to the 1st and we were like, shit, we're in the middle of the jungle. We have no Wi-Fi. We have terrible cell reception. This is not the experience we want for our customers. This isn't the experience that we want for our community. And so we made the decision to move it. And in corporate, the decision would have been push through, like, don't like push through the resistance.
You can't change dates.
Yeah, this is just a universal up level or like limiting or whatever. Like there would have been so much bullshit around us changing the dates. And us changing the dates was definitely the most aligned decision. It was the most flow decision for everybody. We got way more people into the container as a result. It's a better experience for everyone. And that's also in alignment with both of our human designs. So both of us have an open root center in our human design. And from a launching perspective, what that means is that because we can get stressed and feel unsafe if we're not perfect, if there's not like every little task, we have a lot of trouble relaxing. It's really important when we launch things to give ourselves permission to move dates. And so us moving that date was actually us living our human design and exemplifying and embodying that for others. And that is a big part of this program that nobody talks about, is like, it's okay to change things. It's okay to pivot. Like, you don't have to be rigidly stuck to something. And in fact, you shouldn't be. So lots of unique pieces of this program versus anything else we see.
Yeah. Well, and to add to that, like from my angle in helping you guys facilitate the container, that extra bit of time gave me more time to really drop into what this is about. You know, so that, it worked all around. The other thing I want to say too is just in relation to the human design, like I too have been diving into that aside from what you guys have been. And it's amazing what permission it gives us to actually bring in those elements that we have formerly as insecurities, and seeing that, you know, they can transform into superpowers as we start accepting ourselves from that. So I was very intrigued that you guys include that in your program.
Loncen, what is your, do you know what your human design is? I'm assuming.
Yeah, so I'm a generator, 3/6 generator.
3/6 generator, nice.
Yeah. How many generators do we have in our field right now?
Quite a few, actually, more than we used to. Yeah, we seem to have quite a few, 6 or 7. I mean, it's 70% of the population, so it's likely. Yeah, and you know, that's what I love is that like, generators are, luckily, they're the ones that society is kind of built for because there's so many of us. We're manifesting generators, both of us. But me learning my human design and learning that I was a manifesting generator, for me, that was a huge amount of permission because as a manifesting generator, we're basically like lightning in a bottle. And so I get the ideas, I inform, and like I want to push it out of my body as quickly as possible. It's literally uncomfortable to hold it in my body. And once it's out, I want to like baby it. It's my baby for the birthing process, for its like gestation period. And then this is going to be a bad example, but once it's out of my body, I'm like, okay, somebody else deal with it. I want to go on to the next thing.
Where's my nanny?
Yeah. So it's like, once I've birthed it, I don't actually want to deal with it anymore. I've perfected it. I've run it once. I don't like having to go back and reinvent the wheel or like perfect it or go back and look at analytics. That's not really what I enjoy doing. However, in corporate, that was a necessity for me.
It was the same for me. Like I would get brought in to architect these huge systems, and then I would transition them mostly to operational people. That was like when I was, you know, in flow and I was enjoying things. But when companies would like say, oh, we want you to build this, and I come and build it, and then they're like, okay, now you can get to operate it. I'm like, that's where I just be getting dragged into like, no, this is not. I'm out of alignment. Yeah. All right, see you guys later. I'm out of here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that even gives me some insight into why we work, because like I love being in the creative realm, and so like having you guys are and sitting in the creativity of that and being able to add to that, that's actually where I can create magic. So amazing.
Beautiful.
So what would you say is each other's genius?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh boy. She's got me. What is Steph's genius? You know, I've actually been thinking about this quite a lot lately because we work so well together. And I've been trying to figure out like where exactly does that line lie? And I think like Steph's genius is really as the oracle, right? And I think she knows what my genius is, because it kind of goes with the oracle. But yeah, her genius is in seeing like the next lily pad, right? Her genius is in pulling down those divine downloads, is actually that very clear, clairvoyant connection to source. Yeah, I mean, it gets her into trouble sometimes.
Lots of the time. Not sometimes, lots of time.
Yeah, like one example of that. And I mean, in history, like the woman in a pair like this has often been the oracle. You can go back like thousands of years, and there's countless examples of this where the woman in a very powerful couple is like the connection to source, does pull that, get the downloads, sees the black puppy with the white star on her heart, and knows it's gonna happen, and then
there's a whole story there. Everyone's watching and really confused, so I feel like you're gonna have to provide
and her second genius is taking those downloads and like communicating them. Right? She's able to just translate it into words that are very powerful words. I don't know if energetically her words contain a lot of power. There's like a potency there. Everybody that I see interact with her feels that potency because she can shift their mood. She can shift their perception on something very, very quickly. It's magical to watch.
Thank you. Another skill that has gotten me into a lot of trouble.
Okay. How about something a little closer to the heart, Cian? What do you love about Steph?
What do I love about Steph? Oh my God. Well, I love her laugh for one. Just that she's willing to be silly and playful with me. It's been hard to have finding partners who are willing to step up to that, the level of silliness and childlikeness that I have.
Quite extreme. Extreme level of silliness.
And she even brings it out in me. So yeah, I really love that about her.
Beautiful. How about you, Steph? What is Cian's genius?
I think definitely his genius in a word would be wisdom. He just never ceases to blow my mind with the amount of information that he holds in his mind from it seems like multiple lifetimes, honestly. I'm like, how do you retain all of this? It's not 40 years worth of knowledge. He can't remember what happened yesterday, but if you ask him about a random fact in a book that he slept through 5 years ago, he'll remember it. And
4,000 years ago.
Or 4,000 years ago. And he'll remember it and just speak it so clearly. And the way that he's able then, because he has all this knowledge and all this wisdom, the way that he's able to, and we kind of alluded to this, pull okay, here's this lineage and here's this lineage and here's the similarities and here's the differences. And that has been a huge benefit to everything that we do, is his ability to jigsaw and puzzle piece all of these different pieces together into what is really, I think, was meant to be spirit and source's authentic transmission. That because we've kind of taken all these pieces from all these different places, taken all the similarities and gotten rid of all of the cultural garbage that every lineage kind of has created. And when you see that, it's you're kind of percolating all the crap away and you're left with the sediment that is the truth. And because of his connection to wisdom, we're able to see that. I will say sometimes he speaks it in a way that nobody understands other than me. So I end up being a bit of the translator.
She's the translator. It's awesome because trying to translate this shit from the Akashic records is as near as I can tell. Into human speech is hard enough, but then to actually bring it down a couple levels, that's too much for me. So having her do that, I love hearing the teachings that I've downloaded come out of her. I'm she said that so well.
What she said.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the other thing that I definitely think is his genius that he's probably a lot less aware of is his heart space. And the way that he's able to hold his clients in his heart space. I can't tell you the number of people that I meet, and I mean, you've even kind of mentioned it yourself, that he has such a beautiful ability as a male in this society. It's not common to find somebody that is able to hold such a large heart space to make women with sexual trauma, as an example, feel completely and totally safe in his energy and to be able to explore that trauma. And he just does it so naturally. He doesn't even know he's doing it. And to have men come up to him and say, normally I'm really threatened by men like you, but you just feel so safe and so comfortable and so strong. He's just got this big, Cian and saying Cian's heart. Yeah, he's just got this amazing heart energy that he's able to just drop into. And it's it's palpable and people in the room really feel it.
That's why everything makes it.
I know. And I picking on you for it.
Beautiful. So same question to you. What do you love most about Cian?
I think the way that definitely the playfulness is definitely a really, really big one. I definitely love that. But for me, what has been my own journey is being able to surrender into him. I've never had a partner that I was able to fully surrender into. I've always been very like the breadwinner and the like, you know, little bit control freaky and the organizer and the planner and the doer. And I was always the overachiever. So it meant that I was always the one that was like doing everything in relationship. And it didn't leave a lot of space for my partners to hold me, even if I wanted them to, right? And oftentimes I really didn't, like, I wouldn't even allow myself to be in my vulnerability enough to admit that I needed to be held. And in this dynamic, because of that heart-centeredness and because of the way that he holds himself, I've been able to really flow into my divine feminine and let go of that masculine polarity, which I've never been able to do with anybody else because he's able to hold me. And so there's been multiple times where I've been injured or I've been scared or I've been sad. And I've been able to go into the depth of that because he's been able to hold me and I've been able to fully surrender to him. And I've never had that experience with anyone else.
So amazing. Yeah. What I'm hearing in that is just really how you guys are embodying like the divine masculine and feminine and really stepping into that now. So powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, we're 5 minutes over an hour, but is there anything else that you guys wanted to share about your program or anything?
If you are starting a business, startup, small business, coaching business, conscious business, whether you're actually fully in spirituality or not, like this CBA is for you. This Conscious Business Accelerator is for you. And it's not like studying for an exam. We're not teaching you stuff that you're going to have to memorize and then you're going to regurgitate and like get a certification. This is not like that. This is for people who are like right on the precipice of showing the world their thing, found your purpose, you know, and you want to bring it to the world and you're just like, fuck, how do I do this? And not like die doing this as like a side gig or how do I like, should I just quit my job and just go all in? Like if you're asking yourself any of these questions and you're just not sure, like this is for you because this is going to take you step by step, taking action every day, little micro
commitments.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
And for knowing your purpose too, I think what's important to like highlight there is that it doesn't mean, you know, like I knew I had a purpose to change the world. Like I knew invariably that what I was meant for something so much bigger than corporate, but I didn't necessarily know what that meant. I didn't know if it meant one-on-one containers or group programs or retreats or workshops. I had that piece I didn't know. So you don't need that level of clarity. This program is how you will get that. What you do need is that burning fire in your body that's like, I'm meant for something more. There's something more here. And that applies whether you're just starting or we have a lot of people that have joined the CBA that are finding that they're plateaued. So they've been doing it for a while, but they're plateaued because they haven't met that embodiment piece yet. And so if you're noticing that you've been doing it for like a year or two or whatever, and you had a lot of growth and then all of a sudden you kind of just like fell flat like here, then this is your next up level. This is the next piece for you. At the end of the day, it's about soul-led businesses. We believe in this ripple effect. We believe that we have a certain secret sauce, a certain magic, and we want as many good people to have this as possible. Because when good people make good money, the world is a better place. And it's about time that good people make good money.
It's about time.
Amen to that. Yes. Yeah. Well, and it goes back to what you said earlier in the meditation, Cian, but that clarity, that focus of thought and the creativity.
Yeah.
And, you know, so what I'm hearing in what you're saying, Steph, is that burning desire, like really being attached to that and not flow through.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Feeling the passion, but not necessarily having the how, we'll help with that.
Amazing. Well, great, guys. This was fun for me. Even I learned some new things about you guys. So thank you for participating in this. And yeah, we're only getting started. So
yes, thank you for having us. And I think I learned new things about myself today. Did you learn new things about yourself?
I certainly learned new things about you.
Okay, well, you'll learn new things about me then, I guess.
And myself, of
Yeah.
course.
And then
Yeah.
last thing is, if you are feeling called to the CBA, there's two things I'll add with here. First of all, the early bird is 10% off, and it ends on July 10th, so in 2 days.
Totally worth it, guys.
So if you want 10% off, DM me for the code. I will get it to you, and then you can join us with 10% off. The second piece, oh my God, did I lose it? What was the second piece?
VIP.
No, I guess it wasn't meant to come out. It wasn't meant for this container, I guess.
What about your
Yeah.
thing?
No, I don't think, yeah, I mean, you can talk about that, but no, it was something about the CBA. It was about the early bird. Not there
Okay.
anymore. Cool, just one.
Cool. Okay. The other piece I'm going to add is that full transparency, I'm also an affiliate of your program.
Yeah.
And I have a separate sign up link, but what I'm going to do is complement your package and to be offering attunement sessions in line with what you guys are giving. So to give those people a real opportunity to drop into the embodiment experience, to really open up to the potential of what you guys are offering. So
I love that. Thank you.
So yeah, guys, message Loncen for the 10% off code.
Yeah, so that he can get you signed up.
He'll get you that bonus along with 10% off, which is just an awesome package.
Yeah. So we're together. And that's the thing. Like what you guys are doing, the way that you're bringing partnership in, like it's next level. So I can see only good things coming from all of this creation, including the other people that are on board on the team, and magic. So. Thank you both.
Thank you, Loncen. Thank you for the beautiful interview. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
No problem.
Guys.
Okay.
Much love.
You guys.
Much love, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Going off air.
Perfect.
There we
Still
are.
recording.
Let me just stop.